Welcome, y'all.
Hey, Sherri.
Hey, Tammy.
Hi.
How you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good.
Oh, my God. Take two, because I couldn't find my glasses, but I can see now, so we're good to go. What you drinking?
Tito's and soda water.
Well, at least it's not Tito's and vodka today.
It might be by the end of the day. It might be.
It's one of those days. And your lovely husband and you brought me a belated birthday gift.
I'm not going to take credit for anything but the wrapping.
Okay, so let me see. Can you guys see? It is a whiskey decanter. Yes, you're seeing that right.
My husband gave her the D.
He did. And the balls will fill. I hope I can show that on YouTube. I don't know. Maybe they'll ban me. I'm not sure. Okay. How are you?
I'm doing good.
Good.
And you've got a story for me today?
I do have a story.
Ooh, awesome.
It is a 2002 story. And this is actually a story I've heard a few times.
Okay.
So you will probably have, you'll probably recognize it.
I recognize most.
Yeah. So let's talk about 2002. I usually do pop culture, but I wanted to look up a few things that weren't really what I would consider pop culture.
Mm-hmm.
The kind of phones we were carrying around were flip phones.
Mm-hmm.
I call them block phones, but I don't mean the original ones that you carry in a bag, but just kind of like the,
Yeah, like a Nokia.
No, yes, exactly. We were still using VHS tapes.
Yes.
In 2002. It wasn't long after that they died out, but we were still on VHS. And for some reason, while I was looking all this stuff up, I started thinking, when did cops start wearing body cams? 2014 is when they started. And not everybody adopted that.
Right.
So this story is going to take place in 2002. So we're way behind the times, like compared to today. So we're going to be in California.
All right.
I'm going to tell you about Eddie Araujo. He was born in February 1985. His parents divorced when he was 10 months old. He was born and raised in California.
Mm-hmm.
Eddie was raised as a boy. That was I think this is the right terminology, his assigned sex at birth.
Assigned gender.
Gender at birth. And when he was a little boy, he always wanted to play, like, you know how kids play cops and robbers?
Yes.
Well, whatever the game was, he wanted to be the girl character, like the heroine or the princess, or, he wanted to play that.
Playhouse, he was the mom.
Yes. And some family members told Eddie's mom to take him to the doctor because that is not going to fix anything. But, back then, I guess that was what people thought to do. It's over 20 years ago.
Yeah.
So his mom was like, no, I'm not taking him to the doctor.
Just let him be who he is.
He's healthy, you know? But they were like, something's wrong with him because he's so girly. But his mom was like, he's fine. She didn't think he needed a doctor.
Okay.
Well, in 1999, at the age of 14, Eddie came out as being transgender. He told his mom he didn't feel like a boy. Everyone at school called him a freak.
Mm-hmm.
They were horrible to him. I'm sure kids still do that today, even as aware as we are.
Much less so, but
they don't tolerate that kind of shit at school anymore. Like the bullying,
the being the bully, and like there's more awareness and openness to transgender. Although I kind of feel like it's gone too far.
Well,
you're not a cat. You are not a puppy dog.
Well, they treated him bad at school, and Eddie's mom helped him transition. He started by growing his hair long. Then he started dressing differently. He began to go by the name Gwen Araujo. So from this point in the story, I'll be calling Eddie Gwen.
Okay.
And referring to him as her, just because that's the way she started living her life.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's 1999, a lot less woke, as I said.
Yes.
Back then. Transgender and transitioning were not an everyday part of our life. And I'm sure that this was difficult for Gwen and her mom. There was no support groups. I'm sure there are support groups now. I'm
Yes.
sure there's all kinds of.
And we have the internet. You can find information everywhere. Still in 1999, we were just getting down here high-powered internet.
So I did look that up too. Around this time frame, people were starting to have internet in their home, but it was dial-up internet. And I mean, most businesses had something faster.
Yeah.
But,
and I had something faster because I'm a nerd.
I just remember that dial-up modem.
Yeah, I wouldn't have that in my home, but the moment like fiber optic, hardline, high-speed internet became available,
you were on it.
I was on it. But for me, I mean, you all understand. I bring y'all the info.
Yeah.
I'm constantly what Tammy and I do for y'all here, I was doing on my own. I was researching things. I never sleep well, so I would just pick a topic and find out everything I could about it.
And I don't feel like Gwen and her mom maybe had that available at this time.
And that would have been weird. Like, it was a stupid expense for me then.
But it also, even if they would have had that available,
there weren't the groups.
There wasn't any information. Okay. So basically, I just kind of wanted to set the scene for, this is back in time.
Yeah.
This isn't where we are today. Hopefully we have become more aware and have moved forward. So we're going to go to October 2002, Gwen's 17.
All right.
There's a party house in Newark, California. It's the Merrill Brothers.
What? Newark, like New Jersey, Newark?
Yep.
Okay.
Newark, Newark, California. I didn't know there was a Newark, California. So the Merrill brothers lived in this party house. The first night that Gwen went to the party house, she flirted with a couple guys that were at the party. She smoked some weed. The guys flirted with her. It's like, to me, a normal teenage party.
Absolutely.
Gwen went to the party house on several occasions, and she actually became intimate with a couple of the guys who hung out there on a regular basis.
Okay.
So I'm going to tell you the main characters of this story.
All right.
Michael Magnuson, Jose Merrill. Remember, it's the Merrill brothers' house.
Yeah.
Jerome Neighbors and Jason Cazares. Now, I'm just going to call them Michael, Jose, Jerome, and Jason. But, oh my God.
Wait, which one was the Merrill?
Jose.
Jose. Okay.
So these four guys were regulars at the party house. And they came to know Gwen and flirted with her and stuff like that. So at some point, Jerome, after Gwen left, was like, hey, do you think Gwen might be a dude? Like, he was suspicious. Now, I saw pictures of her. She was very pretty. I wouldn't necessarily say that she looked manly, but I mean, he, I guess, was close enough to make his own opinions about it. But when Jerome brought it up, everybody just kind of laughed it off. Like, nobody really took it serious, and it didn't go any further in the conversation. As time went on, Gwen had a more intimate relationship with two of the guys.
Okay.
Michael Magnuson and Jose Merrill.
Okay.
With Michael, she had oral sex. With Jose, she had anal sex. And so my initial thought was, well, how did they not know? Well, I mean, with the oral sex, I could see he not knowing that she had a
penis.
Yes, had a penis.
But now you have a penis.
I do have a penis. A glass penis. Okay. So what she would tell the guys to keep them from like putting their hands, in the area was that it was that time of the month for her. And so they didn't know she had a penis. So the more Gwen came around, the more there was talk about her being a guy.
Yeah.
So October 3rd, 2002. There's a lot going on that week, and one of the things Gwen had planned was going to the Merrill Brothers party house. That night, Michael, Jose, Jerome, and Jason were at the party house, like usual. Also there was Paul Merrill. He's one of the Merrill brothers.
Okay.
His girlfriend, Nicole, and Manny Merrill, who's also a Merrill brother. Okay.
How do you spell that, Merrill?
Merel. It could be Morel.
Maybe. I mean, because that's some pretty, sorry, but that's some fairly Spanish origin names for what sounded like a very European, like German level European last name.
Yeah.
So,
it could have an accent.
It could have an accent, or maybe Mama was.
Could have been. So at the party house that night, I told you who was there. Everybody started playing dominoes. At that point, the conversation turned to Gwen, and they confronted her about being male or female. And the conversation escalated, and someone demanded Gwen to take her underwear off.
Oh, no.
So Michael said, so she won't be embarrassed. I'll go in the bathroom with her. She can show me, and it'll just be between us.
Yeah.
She's not having to show everybody. They went in the bathroom. They were in there for at least 30 minutes. Finally, Nicole went to the bathroom, knocked on the door, went inside. Nicole point blank asked Gwen, "Are you a man?" Gwen didn't answer. She just looked down. Then Nicole took Gwen's legs and spread them and grabbed the package, as Nicole called it, when she was, telling her part of the story. And that's when the truth came out. So Nicole left the bathroom screaming. And as Gwen was leaving the bathroom, Michael punched her and knocked her to the floor. After that, several of the guys at the party wrestled Gwen down. They pulled her legs apart and ripped down her underwear. And that's when everybody knew for sure what was going on. Okay, now remember, Jose was the one that had anal sex with her.
Yeah.
He became very emotional. He was screaming, "Does this mean I'm gay? Does this mean I'm gay?" He started vomiting. He started crying. Like, he was over the fucking top with this. And Nicole's trying to calm him down. But finally, Nicole goes, "Gwen, it's time for you to go home. Like, you need to leave." So, I mean, this is all shitty.
It is.
But it gets shittier because Gwen got up to leave, but Michael stopped her. Michael, Jerome, and Jason stopped her. Over the course of the next few hours, Gwen tried to get to a phone to call for help. She tried to leave the house. Other people at the party house tried to get her out of the house. But every time somebody tried, Michael and Jerome stopped Gwen from leaving. Now, Jose, who was freaking out, went into the kitchen and got a frying pan.
Oh, no.
Hit Gwen in the head. Then he got some kind of can. I'm just picturing one of those like that you get at school for like pork and beans, like the 7,000 ounce can. But he hit her in the head with the can. And she begged, "Please don't. I have a family. Stop." And Nicole is watching all this happen, and she's freaking out. And she's like, "I got to get out of here. I can't do this anymore." So her boyfriend Paul and Nicole, they left. Now, when they left, Gwen was sitting on the couch. She was bloody, and it wasn't clear what level of consciousness she had.
Yeah.
So the guys are freaking out because she's bleeding everywhere. She's still kind of semi-conscious. They're like, "We need to knock her out. We need to knock her out." So Michael hits Gwen's head against the wall and knocks her cold.
And she probably already had a skull fracture from one of the other items.
The frying pan, the can. After she was knocked out, Jason kicked her.
Okay.
So at this point, Gwen is definitely unconscious.
And I hate kicking somebody when they're down.
That's exactly what he did.
That is a puss move. And I've kicked in a fight, but
I mean,
not somebody that was down.
You're down and you're knocked out. You're not even like posing a threat.
And let me just say, I wasn't kicking as an adult, fully grown woman. I haven't been in. Number one, you all don't know that, but I am an Amazon. So nobody approaches me that way. But the second thing is I'm a fully grown woman and I am not getting in those situations.
Right.
So just a little clarity. But kicking somebody who is on the ground is a puss move.
On the ground, passed out because someone just bashed her head into the wall.
Oh.
So once she's out and Jason kicked her, Michael bound Gwen's wrists and ankles.
Mm-hmm.
And the 4 guys took her to the garage. When I say the 4 guys, I'm talking about Michael, Jose, Jerome, and Jason.
Okay.
Now, the guy's side of the story at this point in time is all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
One of them's pointing the finger. This one tied her up. This one hit her head. Like, they're just completely blaming somebody else for everything that happened to her. Well, Michael said, okay, one person said Michael strangled Gwen with a rope. Another person said Jason hit her with a shovel. And the bottom line is these cold-blooded sons of bitches killed her.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, and it was vicious.
Mm-hmm.
Then they drove 4 hours away and buried her. They put her in a shallow grave in El Dorado National Forest. And I think that's in Nevada. Now, remember, this story takes place
in California.
Okay.
But 4 hours is like...
Yeah.
That goes beyond that kind of cone of comfort.
Yeah.
So the cops wouldn't have...
No. And you're in another state.
Mm-hmm.
Like, but when they buried her, they made a pact that they weren't going to say anything.
Okay.
But we all know how keeping a secret goes, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so the next morning, Gwen's mom woke up. She realized Gwen hadn't come home.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Gwen's 17, but
I still wouldn't have been in bed.
I think this was out of character for her.
Yeah.
She would have come home and, at some point. Gwen's mom called the hospitals. They called the police department. They called the morgue.
Oh, no.
They filed a missing persons report. I mean, they did everything. A week went by, no sign of Gwen. Like all stupid criminals, one of them cracked.
Mm-hmm.
Jerome told a friend about what happened.
Yeah, it's easier to kill somebody than it is to bear the burden of killing somebody.
But it's like, you're so stupid. Anyway.
Yeah, it is stupid. But that's the part that stupid people don't realize before they do something this gross, this horrible.
Yeah, that you can't live with that on your conscience.
Absolutely.
So, of course, that friend went to the police.
Yeah.
The police were like, hey, will you wear a wire and get him talking about the murder or whatever happened, you know? And the friend did that. And from the recording, Jerome was arrested.
Okay.
He admitted he was involved. He told the police what happened. And at the end of the confession, Jerome took the investigators to Gwen's body. So now they have a body.
They have a body.
They have a story.
Did he rat others out whenever he did this confession or just say people? So he said names. Okay.
He told them who else was there when Gwen was killed. One by one, they brought the men in for questioning. Michael admitted he was the one who tied the rope around Gwen's neck. It wasn't much after that. They had Jose in custody. So now you have Jerome, Michael, and Jose. They're in jail. They're being charged with murder.
Okay.
We'll get to Jason, but not right now. These guys are put in no bail. In addition to murder, they're charged with a hate crime. Which I'm surprised that, honestly, in my mind, I wouldn't even have necessarily thought that existed. I mean, I don't know why.
I think that Brandon guy up in the northern Midwest had happened by this point. And I think that was kind of what pushed hate crime legislation for the whole LGBTQ plus community.
Okay. Well, Gwen's murder captured the public's attention.
And it should have.
And before long, the story went national. People were outraged and upset. It was difficult for people to focus on Gwen's murder. They kept focusing on the fact that she was transgender. Most people didn't even should we call her Eddie? Should we call her Gwen? Do we say he? Do we say her?
Yeah, because that wasn't even part of the conversation then.
We didn't have pronouns. We didn't have what's your pronoun.
And I'm not crazy about the what's your pronoun culture because relationships should be easier and more natural than that. But there was no acceptance of different.
Yes. No. I mean, I think that you had acceptance of gay and lesbians, but I don't.
But that was barely.
Yeah. I don't think that we have even scratched the surface on transgender.
I know that Buffy the Vampire Slayer was late 90s. And it was a big deal that they showed a lesbian couple on there in a healthy, normal relationship. And it wasn't a joke.
Yeah.
So it was still, we were just beginning to get a grasp on that whole community.
Yes. Agree. So the back and forth between Eddie and Gwen was not only happening in the media, but it was in the courtroom too. So that could be confusing, I think, to the jury.
I think so.
So here's the where it gets in my mind, and I don't want to go too deep into it, but people were saying that Gwen was just being who she was. Others were saying that Gwen was being deceitful. Okay. I see both sides of that. I feel like she should have come forward, but today you probably could a lot easier than you could then. Like I said, there's no what is your pronoun back then.
And who's going to be there at that time to teach a 17-year-old how to navigate this?
Yes.
It is absolutely, Gwen should have been honest.
Yes.
She should have been her authentic self every way, every day, and she shouldn't have hid it. And by hiding it, she did cause harm to other people.
Things were so bad that at Gwen's funeral, there were people holding derogatory signs with hate speech at the funeral. Yes.
Oh, let me tell y'all, come to the South and do that. I don't care who you are not going to be mean at a funeral.
Well, this was even, that I think it's the Winsboro Baptist.
I know. They're horrible.
So they said they were going to go and make a scene at her funeral. They didn't show, but that hit hard for me if those people were getting involved.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. 3 weeks after the funeral, the fourth guy, Jason, was finally arrested. So that was in, what did I say? October 2002.
Yes.
April 2004, the trial started. Jerome was the key witness for the prosecution. He's the guy that got on the recording, told his friend, blah, blah, blah. He made a deal for 11 years and got a manslaughter sentence in exchange for his testifying against the other 3 guys.
Okay. I can see that. I mean, that's actually pretty normal.
Yeah. The testimony was horrific. The family was in the courtroom. At one point, Gwen's mom had to leave the courtroom.
Could you imagine?
It was so graphic. No. I don't think I could be in there at all.
I don't think any of you who haven't lost somebody to violence could imagine what it's like to have to carry out that whole justice journey.
Well, not only that, just losing a child, period. Boy,
it's
girl,
horrible.
It doesn't matter. Losing a child, period, is horrible. And then you have to hear every detail of how that child died. Okay. The defense was, these 3 guys were all tried at the same time, but they had different lawyers. Okay. The defense was the violence was in response to what the defendants had just learned about Gwen. Finding out she was a man caused an emotional shock, is what they said.
Mm-hmm.
The defense argued that it was a heat of the moment situation and not first degree murder. I totally agree with that.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody at all planned that premeditated this in any way, shape, or form. The defense played on the big part of these guys were being deceived. I get it. I understand that. But it doesn't warrant murder in my mind. Like, yeah. It's so hard because I really want to say she should have told everybody, but I know that time and I don't know that she would have known how to tell people or anyway. Okay. Gwen's mom and sister said that Gwen had been living as a woman for 3 years.
Okay.
Female. I mean, she was a teenager before she was killed. Again, she had male parts. So.
Yeah, because 17 is too young to make that decision for them.
Well, and she wanted to do like hormone replacement therapy. Again, could you even imagine that many years ago? I mean, it had to be completely a new science.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it was there and it could work, but it's such a big deal. And so few people were doing it. I don't think, even if I had like a hermaphrodite kid, you know, somebody who had both parts and it was a choice and they were trying, even then, when it was really a health issue, I would have had a hard time with this untested science on my child.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or tested, but not in a great quantity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So the trial went on for 2 months. June 2004. The jury couldn't reach a verdict. The trial ended in a mistrial.
No.
Gwen's family was shocked, disappointed. LGBTQ activists were outraged. I mean, 3 days after the trial ended, San Francisco held the first transgender march. The first transgender march in 2004.
Because even the LGB community was anti-transgender back then.
True.
Like the T just got added around then.
Yeah. Okay. Second trial, a year later, June 2005. There's a couple big differences in the second trial. Remember how I told you in the first trial, the media and everyone was going back and forth between Eddie, Gwen, he, she. This trial, Gwen's family was able to have Gwen's name legally changed before the trial started.
Hot dog.
Yes. So during the second trial, everyone referred to her as Gwen. There was no more Eddie. There was no more he. To me, that could make a huge difference.
Absolutely, because now you have an identity as the victim.
Yes.
Like a solidified victim that people can picture and they can picture in real life. Changes things.
Absolutely.
It would be like convicting somebody of murdering John Doe. Otherwise.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, it's a little harder.
Yeah. So there's another big difference. In the first trial, the prosecution was hell-bent on first-degree murder, which I don't feel like it was even first degree. Remember, y'all, first degree is like a premeditated. Second degree is like heat of the moment, a crime of passion type thing.
Yeah, but legally speaking, first degree, your intent can be really short.
Okay.
Okay, so
maybe when they were beating her up and then decided to kill her.
That is technically first degree, but a lot of people would have a hard time grasping that. So it's more about not whether or not it was first degree, whether or not you can convince a jury.
And I think that was part of the problem. The prosecution in the first trial was hammering home first degree.
Yeah.
In the second trial, the prosecution in the closing arguments was like, don't get hung up on first or second degree. If you think it's murder,
it's murder.
It's okay to say second degree murder. Like, don't get hung up on that. So the good news is they were able to reach a verdict. the jury found Jose and Michael guilty of second-degree murder.
Mm-hmm.
The jury was deadlocked on Jason. The deadlock, his attorney made a deal for manslaughter to avoid a third trial.
Very good. But why were they deadlocked on Jason? How did his...
I don't know that. Maybe he had less of a part in it through all the testimony. I don't really know because I did not read the court documents.
Okay.
So none of the men at all were convicted of a hate crime.
Which I can understand. Hate crime theoretically sounds good. But when it comes to actual time in prison, often normal statutes will increase it already beyond what the hate crime would do. So
yeah,
it ends up, I mean, it looks good on paper, but it doesn't do you any good.
Yeah, it doesn't do anything. Okay, you know how they give the defendants an opportunity to speak?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, when Jose spoke, he showed remorse.
Good.
When Michael spoke, he said the case was based on lies and he did not get a fair and unbiased trial.
Well, he was heading for prison, whether he did this or something else, because
he can eat a bag of dicks.
Mm-hmm. Or a glass one.
Or a glass one. Okay. Let me tell you what the guys got sentenced to.
Okay.
Jose and Michael, 15 years to life.
All right.
To me, that's not enough because you murdered someone. But okay, whatever.
Yeah, but I mean, to say it that way, that means their first chance of parole is 15 years.
Yeah. Jason, he was the one that made the deal. 6 years. Jerome, the guy that flipped on everybody, 11 years.
I don't like Jason's.
I don't either.
Sentence at all.
Yeah. Here's what each guy served. Jose granted parole in 2016. So this happened in 2002.
So he served.
But think about, okay, so they were arrested. And so technically your time is starting to serve when you're arrested. So they were arrested in 2002 and he got out and he got paroled in 2016. He was only in there for 14 years. Not even the 15 to life.
Not even the 15.
Jerome, the guy that flipped on everybody, he was released sometime before 2016.
Hell.
I could not find, to save my life, the exact date when this guy got released. But he only got sentenced to 6 years. So
he was probably out in 2008?
Probably. Yeah. I couldn't find anything on that. Okay, Jason... actually, no, I'm sorry. Jerome was the guy who flipped, got sentenced to 11 years. So he should have been out by 8, 9, 10. I can't do math. I'm drunk.
11 years, 2002. That's 2013.
Okay. So that would make sense.
I'm totally okay with Jerome. Number one, he did hard time.
Yes.
Because of going in as a flipper. And number two, we wouldn't have gotten anything if he hadn't have.
Would not have gotten any of these guys. The one that was supposed to get 6 years, Jason, he was released in 2012. So I feel like that's longer than 6 years. 2002.
He must have been a very bad prisoner.
He got 10.
He had time added for stuff he did in the penitentiary.
Yes. Now let's talk about Michael Magnuson, the guy who said he didn't get a fair trial. It was based on lies, blah, blah, blah. He has been denied parole and is still in prison today, July 2024.
Work on yourself, Michael.
Yes. There is a pending parole hearing on August 1st, 2024. Obviously, that's a few weeks away. So far, he's been in jail for 18 years. So he's definitely done his 15. Now let's give him life.
Yeah, I mean, if he can't... Countries that have shorter prison sentences have lower recidivism rate. Okay. I don't think that the answer is to shorten the prison sentence. I think the answer is to fix the prisoners.
But
and if he's not going to fix himself and understand that what he did was wrong, keep his ass in there.
I mean, I don't care what side of the fence you're on with this whole Gwen should have told, or Gwen was just being herself and living her true life. I don't care what side you're on. She should not have been murdered.
No. And
there's no reason that these guys should have murdered her. And I feel like they didn't get enough fucking time. I feel like, anyway.
And I'm hoping that the reason why they got so little time, except for the guy who flipped, is because they became better people.
Well, actually, Jose, who was granted parole in 2016, actually had the support of Gwen's mom to get out.
Okay, so I feel like that Jose...
Yes, he was the one that said he was sorry when he got a chance to. He was the one that was like, I wish I could take this back. You know, I'm never going to forgive myself.
Because how old were these guys when this happened? They were like 18, 19, 20, 21.
Exactly. They were all young.
They weren't fully formed.
Yes.
And so there is a chance for them to be a better person.
Yeah. And it sounds like some of them did what they were supposed to do in jail. And
Michael didn't.
He's still there.
So stay your ass there, Michael, until you can pull your head out of it. Look at who you are. And then maybe you'll get a chance to get out.
Take a fucking look in the mirror. Take a look. Okay, so have you heard this story before?
Actually, I only remember like vague flashes of it at the time.
Okay, all right.
Like, I don't remember how the trial went, but it was one of those talking points. Like, how do you feel about LGBT? And I mean, the T was new. The plus wasn't even added yet.
Right.
And, you know, and I think I expressed how I feel about it. Be your authentic self. Being your authentic self means not fooling somebody either that's about to be your sexual partner. If you can't have a hard conversation with somebody,
right,
don't have sex.
Right.
That's right in there with, what do we do if we get pregnant?
Right.
Those conversations need to happen before you're naked.
I agree. I agree with that. But still don't kill somebody.
Don't kill somebody. I mean, just because you didn't have the conversation, dumbass, you didn't realize you were banging somebody who had a penis. That's only you as well as them.
I still find that hard to believe that even with anal sex, like
that you didn't know there were balls right there. You were slapping balls together.
I mean, okay. Anyway, all right. Let me tell you where I went for my story.
Okay.
On Hulu, you can watch Being Gwen, A Life and Death Story.
Okay.
KTVU, the New York Times, Wikipedia, and cdcr.ca.gov. I think that might have been where I was trying to look up when their sentences, the one like guy actually got out, but I still couldn't find it. Okay, so that is the story of Gwen Araujo, and I'm glad we're more woke now and tolerant and all those things.
I don't like emotional hoops, but I like honesty.
Yes.
And so I love that. I love if you're gay, you're gay.
Exactly.
If you're trans, you're trans.
Just be yourself.
And me personally, I live a really conservative life on paper.
But my whole thing is that you're not hurting anybody, then do what you want to do, boo-boo.
Absolutely. And I love that we're moving more toward that.
Yeah.
Even on like a spiritual side, you're not, if you're just like in the lanes and you haven't been changed, but you're in the lanes because of society, that's not real either. So screw what society thinks and just be you.
Yes. Agree. Okay, for something light.
I
didn't do funny criminal stories this time.
Okay.
I started thinking about the good guys and the bad guys. I went to the American Film Institute's 100 Years of Heroes and Villains.
Ooh.
Chandler, who is camera switching today, just recently started watching, I believe, the 100 best movies of all time.
I love that idea.
IMDb, yes. And he has watched some, and there were some that I was like, I insist when you get to that one, I want to watch it with you. Silence of the Lambs was one of those.
That was a good movie.
One of my faves. Okay, we're gonna start with the heroes.
Okay.
Now I'm not gonna read all 100 or anything like that. I'm just gonna kind of go through here and see. Now, remember, these are movie characters. They may have been real life in some cases.
Yeah.
But like Mahatma Gandhi, okay? The Ben Kingsley played him in the movie Gandhi in 1982. So he's one of the heroes.
And he did such a good job when I try to picture Gandhi.
Yes.
I have to remind myself that I'm picturing Ben Kingsley Gandhi and then kind of pull back and remember the real Gandhi.
You probably know this one. Aaron Brockovich.
Yes, I do.
Played by Julia Roberts in the movie Aaron Brockovich. And that was in 2000. And that was a great movie.
It was.
If y'all haven't seen it. But they also have people like Tarzan as a hero. And Obi-Wan Kenobi as a hero.
Love me some Obi-Wan.
They have Lassie.
Okay.
As a hero in Lassie Come Home, the movie. Let's see. Let me go back toward the top. Now Superman.
Okay.
Played by Christopher Reeves. Spartacus. Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. Robin Hood. So these are heroes. Han Solo.
Okay.
Love me some Han Solo. Love me some Harrison Ford in general.
Oh, yeah. He's kind of hot.
Yeah. At least he was. I don't know that he is anymore, but whatever.
I mean, if you
I had
like
a crush
70-year-olds.
I mean, I had a crush on him way back when.
Me too.
Okay. Another hero, Rocky Balboa.
Okay.
Played by Adrian. Yo, Adrian. James Bond.
Daniel Craig is still the best one to me.
Sean Connery. No?
Oh, yeah. Okay, I love Sean Connery.
He's pretty sexy.
But I love Sean Connery as Sean Connery more than as James Bond.
Okay.
I like the man.
Yes.
Way more than his character.
So this particular James Bond that they're citing as a hero is the Sean Connery version in Dr. No in 1962.
Okay.
Indiana Jones by Harrison Ford.
Another Harrison Ford.
When those movies came out, I was obsessed.
I was way more obsessed with them than Star Wars.
I liked Star Wars, but yes, Indiana Jones was like, that was my shit. Yeah, it was the tits, totally. The number one hero, Atticus Finch, which is Gregory Peck, in To Kill a Mockingbird from 1962. And to be totally honest with you, I never watched that movie.
That is my...
Did you watch it, Chandler?
It's a great movie, and it is my favorite book of all time.
So, Chandler, did you... And I know y'all, he's not Mike Jaw, but he's, like I said, working through this list of the best movies. So, did you love it? Oh, man. Should I watch it? Yeah,
you should watch it and scout as a Southern girl who was way too big for my britches. When, because I was a smart kid and kind of a loner. When I was a kid, it was the first character in a book that I read that I related to. It is, when I tell you it is my favorite book, it is, the number of times I've read that is only topped by the number of times I've read the Bible. I've read it probably 15 times.
That would be my Bridgerton. The number of times I've watched Bridgerton.
Okay.
I'm so shallow. Okay, so let's talk about the bad guys.
Okay.
The evil villains, okay?
My screwed up self probably had more crushes on the villains.
I was kind of that way too, a lot. So I'm going to, I literally want to read every one of these, but I'm not. Hans Gruber.
Okay.
Die Hard.
Die Hard.
The Joker.
Alan Rickman.
Yes. Yeah. Professor, what was it? Snape. Yeah. Okay. The Joker. I'm not even like Joan Crawford. Oh my God.
Wait, who's Joker?
Okay, let's see
that's
who's
what I'm
Joker.
wondering.
Chandler asked who's Joker.
Because Heath Ledger was pretty good. Jack Nicholson.
Yeah. In 1989. He was a good one.
He was.
Okay. Joan Crawford, who was played by Faye Dunaway in Mommy Dearest.
Ooh, that was That was more terrifying to me than Silence of the Lambs.
1981, I'm going to beat you with a coat hanger.
More wire hangers.
Yes.
Yeah.
Freddy Krueger.
Okay.
Cruella DeVille.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's see here. Count Dracula.
Mm.
Clyde Barrow and Bonnie Parker. Bonnie and Clyde.
Absolutely.
Let's see. Okay. I don't know these. Oh, one says Martians. Let's see. The War of the Worlds, 1953. So the Martians were the evil villains.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The Terminator, played by Arnold Schwarzenegger. Who, by the way, I didn't read this, but he was also on the heroes list. The Terminator.
Okay. Yeah. 1 and 2.
Yep. The Alien in Alien. Yep. 1979. Michael Corleone, played by Al Pacino in The Godfather 2.
Mm-hmm.
The Evil Queen in Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs.
Okay.
Now, this one. Love it. Do you remember the original Exorcist with Linda Blair?
Yes, okay. I do.
The character was Reagan McNeil.
Mm-hmm.
And while she was possessed as the demon Pazuzu, that's that's number 9 on the top evil people list.
Yeah, that was some groundbreaking kind of cinema there.
Nurse Ratched.
Oh, yeah. One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Mm-hmm. Know the year? 1975.
Oh, man, that makes me sound so old.
This is one that is near and dear to my heart, and this is one that I have watched with my children over and over and over. And don't get excited when I say the name, because it's probably not what you're thinking it is.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Potter, the evil villain in It's a Wonderful Life.
Yeah. Watch that every year. That and White Christmas every year.
Yes. Okay. Did I say the Wicked Witch of the West?
No, but that's it.
She was number 4.
Okay.
So now we're going to get to the very top. Okay. Number 3, Darth Vader. Very good.
Yeah. And if you spoke German, you would have realized what was happening.
What does Darth Vader mean?
Dark Father.
Oh.
So the Luke Skywalker moment wouldn't have gotten you. Yeah.
All right. My son's laughing at me.
So the I am your father moment.
Luke, I am your father. Okay. Number 2 villain of all time.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to guess, or do you want me to tell you?
I want you to tell me.
And Chandler, if you haven't watched this movie, it's pretty good, but it is. I don't know that it would have made it on the top 100. Norman Bates from Psycho, 1960. Was it on the top 100? No, I didn't think it would make it.
Alfred Hitchcock was a freaking genius.
Yes. Number 1, one of my favorite villains of all time, which I mentioned earlier, Hannibal Lecter, played by Anthony Hopkins in The Silence of the Lambs in 1991.
Oh, that was an awesome movie.
Wasn't it great, Chandler? I have actually made all my children, when they were age appropriate, sit with me and watch that movie. I'm like,
that's okay. I make mine sit with me and watch like what I consider my top 5 comedy moments.
Yeah.
As soon as they get to the point where they can hear those words, or it's time to watch Robin Williams live at the Met.
Yes, I hear you.
Uh-huh.
So basically, I've made them all watch It's a Wonderful Life. And I've made them all watch Silence of the Lambs. But other than that, I don't really think that I've forced anything upon them. I just thought it was kind of cool that Chandler decided to take the IMDb, is that what it's called? IMDb list, and start watching from 100 to 1 of the top movies of all time. Every
year I say I'm going to do it, or I'm going to start on it, but almost immediately I say that requires me to sit still for way too long.
Oh, thank you so much for being here for that story.
Oh, it was wonderful.
And hopefully the good guys and the bad guys kind of fit in at the end, but it, I didn't really have like a quote unquote funny moment, but it was something light to end that story. And so when this comes out, hopefully we have made it into the final categories of the People's Choice Podcast Awards.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully when you nominated us the first time around, you checked the box that said, please consider me randomly for the final voting. If you did, check your email and go vote for us in any of the categories where we made it to the finals.
And please check your junk mail. Some
Yes.
of my podcast award emails end up in my junk or
your
spam.
Junk? Okay. Yes, please do. I'm also going to tell y'all now, which is going to come a little bit later, we are up for another podcasting award.
Okay.
The Women in Podcasting in the Comedy Award.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to be up. We're nominated. We're going to be up for voting. This is not a two-step process like the other one in, I think, August or September. So I'll keep y'all posted on that one. But thank y'all so much for going to do the nominations. I know it's kind of a pain. It's very, it's
a process.
It's convoluted the way they have it set up. And it's, 2 steps and blah, blah, blah. Anyway, we appreciate y'all. I can't remember if I asked you what you were drinking on this one or the previous one. I did ask you what you were drinking on this one.
It's not Tito's and vodka.
When I say the previous one, I meant the one where I started it and couldn't find my glasses and had to stop it. Okay, go to YouTube and subscribe. We're in the 800s, guys. We need to hit 1,000. Please get your friends to subscribe, your coworkers to subscribe, your honey to subscribe, your divorce lawyer to subscribe. Anybody.
Tell the checkout girl at your grocery.
Yes, at the local Rouse's or Publix or whatever Food Line or whatever you have in your
whatever you
Kroger, A&P. Okay, anything else? Let's see. Go to TikTok. We have had quite a few new people join the Grits group lately,
which is wonderful.
Yes,
y'all are funny. Thank you.
Yes. And I think Beth sent me an email, and I want everybody to chime in on this. She told me on the last few episodes. Now, by the time this comes out, it will be several episodes ago, that she was listening on Apple Podcast and she heard some type of buzzing noise. But I have gone back and I listen on Spotify and I didn't hear it. So apparently Apple has something against Grits with a Side of Murder and they're putting a buzz in she said it was so bad she had to turn it off.
Oh, no.
Yes. So please, if you're hearing that for some reason, try another platform to listen on. I don't care where you listen, but if it's annoying on Apple, try another. We're on Pandora. We're on Amazon.
I listen on Amazon so I can play it out all of my echoes around the house.
Yes. I think that's it. Anything else? Am I forgetting anything?
Did we say PR? I'm PA.
PA?
PATREO.
Oh. Please. That's the most important one.
Yeah.
Please help support the show. patreon.com/grits, where you can go and you can help support the show. And we're always buying new equipment. We're always trying to spend the money on things to improve the podcast. Believe me, we're not making any money off this. Anything else?
I think that's all.
Chandler, thank you for camera switching. We love y'all. Tell your mom and him to listen. And we're going to let Zydeco Mike take us out.